Be in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communication.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this TGIF open line show every Friday. Y'all know the drill. Those of you who are regulars, every Friday. We talk about the week that was. We give you a chance to free your mind. Get it off your chest. Don't budge. Let's talk about it. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. This has been a tumultuous week. We got a lot of ground to cover. And, you know, whenever it's such a heavy week, I just bring in the expert, Shelley Lewis.
Really?
Shelley Lewis from our news department is here to help us talk about, at least for the first hour of the show. And then she got to go because she got things to do, you know? So, Shelley, welcome to the show, man.
Michelle, thank you for having me once again. I thought I'd gotten away from you so much.
Why are you trying to duck me, man? What happened? I can take this
Michelle,
place. Sit on.
No, man. It's just so many things going
Trust me, I know.
We're not even getting a break. It's like, so one morning I roll over 4 o'clock in the morning. Chief Superintendent Skipping's telling us to meet her at a crime scene.
That don't remind you back in the day in Sadness?
Yeah, back in the day. And back in the day, when we had Douglas Hanner and
Clayton Fernandez and all, and Leon Bessel and all of them. We used to do those crime scenes, you know, those hours of the morning. But nowadays, it's like getting out of your house is a problem because these guys are attacking you in your driveway. So when you're thinking about coming out, you got to be so careful.
Yeah, this is true. Two today.
Two, Michelle.
Mother and a son.
Mm-hmm. And the unfortunate thing is, you know, we came from the crime scene some time ago, a short time ago, right before the news.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sad because it was a community with so many people, so many young people. What was good was that grief counselors and doctors were there on the scene, counseling people right away. They're so traumatized. This 12-year-old son witnessed a murder with one of the kids, saw what happened. This is after the 9 when the kids are up and about moving around to go to school. And you know, this guy is out on bail for murder. When is enough going to be enough? When are we going to say enough is enough? Every time you put the microphone or ask the questions at these crime scenes, the same response is, He is known to the police.
Yeah,
He's
she-
out on bail for murder.
Record
It's just
something
like a recording.
and then just play it every time.
I
They'll
said,
show up.
Superintendent Skipping, how do you all deal with it? You know, the video circulating with the young man who was killed the other day on East Robinson Road and Florida Court. And you know, it's become so
That's
insensitive.
a bus driver.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
the blood is, you know, it's like it's bloody, and families and friends of the city sort of things. What is it these guys are into that there's no regard for human life anymore?
I dare say, people don't like to hear it. And they, you're always talking on it. It's a spiritual problem now.
It is. It is.
There are many components, yes. Social, yes. Poor upbringing, yes. People never learning conflict resolution, yes. All of that. But over all of that is we have a spiritual problem in this country.
Michelle, before we go any further, and I think I owe it to my police colleagues to just give this information on your show.
Yes, please.
And before we go any further, there is a massive that involves every arm of the police force. A massive manhunt for murder accused Kimon Brown.
Do you have this photo?
Yes, his photo is being circulated. Yes, I have his photo. And Brown was out on bail for murder.
Send me the photo.
I've sent you the photo.
Oh, see if I can send it. I can see if I can get it up on the screen for our
Yeah,
Facebook.
Brown is out on bail for murder. And he went to, according to police, he was in the area at the time involved in an altercation with the deceased, the two victims. He returned a short time later, opened fire, killing both of them. Well, she died
At the hospital.
at the hospital. He died. The young man died at the scene. I sat and I watched his wife wept this morning.
So this is how come the police could quickly say this is who we're looking for.
Yes.
He was known to the
Yes,
victims.
he was known to the victims. He was known to the police. And police have also confirmed that he has since cut off his ankle bracelet.
They say he cut it off before
He
the
cut it off,
alleged murder.
yes. He cut off the ankle bracelet and he's off the grid.
Where did you send that photo, Chef?
To you,
Where? Because I don't see it. You sent it to email or you sent it to WhatsApp or
to
what?
your WhatsApp.
I have
Oh,
no
I'm sorry, I'm
idea.
sending it to White. Send it to, there's so many Michelles.
Yeah. Send that to me.
Okay, now it's to you.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, so they say this fella cut off the
Anklet bracelet.
cut the ankle bracelet off his ankle.
Mhm.
This fellow who already on bail for
murder.
alleged murder. And so he cut that off so he could allegedly go
And do what he had to
and
do.
do another two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yet we will have some bleeding heart
Mm-hmm.
talking about capital punishment. This ain't the waste of the waste.
And my son is the only raw, but he don't steal. He don't steal. He don't hold gun on police. And these are the sort of things that you hear from families. And I heard some stories about how mothers stealing weapons, mothers getting rid of weapons that their kids would have used. I went and I did a investigative piece over the past several weeks. And what is happening in this country is sad, is sickening. Families are covering up for harboring criminals.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they know what these young boys are into. The average age is 18. They holding a gun, terrorizing. Every day the business community is in fear. You go to work and you don't even know if you're going back home. I feel it for those workers in those stores when those gunmen go and brandishing guns in their faces. I know what it is to have a gun held in my face.
Me too.
It's not a good feeling, and you live with it for the rest of your life.
So, this problem, the one this morning was, sad. They say the bus driver that was killed was allegedly known, was out on bail as well.
And so was the young boy who was injured in the incident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I spoke with a relative of his this morning. He was also known to police.
So going to that case now, how is it? Coming to you right now, caller. I want you to think about this before, and then I go into the call. How is it that somebody who is out on bail for serious offenses is
Mm.
allowed to drive a public bus
service bus
where passengers could, especially nowadays with this vigilante attitude that we have, where if you out on bail, you're a target.
You're a target.
How is that person allowed? Anyhow, think about that, and then let's talk to this caller. Okay. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day. God bless Michelle. God bless Shirley. God bless Shirley. How you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Pretty good, JT calling in. I haven't been listening to the news much this week, Michelle, because I've been tired of dealing with some stuff. So I'm hearing for the first time, excuse me, what guy just mentioned about the double murder this morning, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. How old was the mother and the child?
He was in her 50s and he was in his 30s.
Wow. Excuse me. Michelle, you hit the nail on the head when you said it's a spiritual problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, well, I would say nobody, but the secular Bahamas never wants to hear the fact.
No. They ain't want to hear nothing about that.
No, ma. They never want to hear that this is a spiritual attack on the country. You have young people who've got their minds soaked with alcohol, soaked with dope, soaked with violent content in respect of music, open up themselves big time to every kind of demonic influence.
Mm-hmm.
And now the devil is running, sadly and unfortunately, the devil is running havoc in this country because of it. I mean, God didn't tell you as a person thinks in their heart, so are they. And what you think, as they say, what you eat, you become. What you think, you become. So, I mean, I don't know how much longer people like you and me, Michelle and Shirley, would have to be letting the public know, folks. We got to get our hearts together in order for the country to heal and to grow, in order for people to wake up and smell the roses. I mean, two lives snuffed out.
Mother and son.
And Michelle, you mentioned the term bleeding hearts a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I am so angry, royally angry, when I hear an apologist for criminal behavior accusing people like you and I as being bleeding hearts. We're standing up for God's point of view. They are standing up for the devil's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, whether they realize it or not, one is either doing what God requires or they're doing what the devil inspires. It's one or the other. And anyone out there in government who accuses persons who support capital punishment for the crime of murder as bleeding hearts, or rather, blood, I forgot, not bleeding hearts, it's the other one. When you find us being accused or castigated as being inhumane, it just goes to show you how lost or how intentional some of these criminal apologists are. You cannot tell me that somebody in their honest, clear-cut thinking really believes or supports the crime of murder, but yet they're going out apologizing for the people who are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to bring to mind, and it's an experience I had yesterday in respect to the mask mandate finally being lifted. I'm going to say this most respectfully.
That's a good thing.
To the governing administration, please advise all governmental departments that they must not refuse the public from coming into their places of business unless they're wearing a mask. I went to a particular entity yesterday, and I was not going to be allowed inside unless I had put my mask on. I came there with the mask off, but I had it in my pocket because I had a feeling that was going to happen. But they refused to allow me on the inside unless I had the mask on.
Was this a hospital or a clinic?
No.
Was it a school?
No.
Well, then they were wrong.
Was it a business establishment? Because
it's a government service office. Let me put it that way. See, I'm intentionally right now not wanting to call the name of the government entity. I'm doing that intentionally for the moment because I don't want to cause them any embarrassment for the moment. But I'm asking the government, please send that memo out to all public places that's owned by the government that the public has to go to.
Okay, JT, we got the point. We have another caller waiting, okay?
Yes, indeed. Well, thanks for the time, Michelle.
All right, thanks for calling. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm.
All right, how are you?
Okay, two quick points.
Mm-hmm.
People don't really understand that we are sharing this earth with others. Others, I mean, fallen angels that occupy on the same earth, and they live in a human body also.
Mm-hmm.
And while we are saying all these things, remember, Paul said, spiritual wickedness
in high places.
See, he said spiritual wickedness. He finished that sentence because we have a whole lot of people in this Bahamas acting so spiritual. But when we put them under the microscope, we can see who they are. This country needs a cleansing from top to bottom. But I call to touch on, my other point is this light blue.
We can talk about that in a little bit. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so you could call back when we get to that point.
Okay, Ms. Martin.
Let us cover this crime situation while we have Shelley Lewis in the studio.
There's something to say about him.
Man, so, back to the question about how is it that
Someone on bail
for violent crimes like murder could be allowed to be driving a public bus, knowing the environment that we live in now, where if you out on bail for something like murder, you become apparently nowadays a target. So how is it that persons out on bail for serious crimes like murder are driving around public buses, putting other people at risk because of the madness what they're doing? What is that about? How's that allowed?
That's a serious question, and that's something that we're gonna have to find out from the relevant authority in terms how is it done? Because we were out just this week and we were talking with a number of persons, and one young man we questioned, was he the owner of the bus?
Mm-hmm.
But we find that the persons who own the buses, they would hire their friends or someone they know to operate the bus, even to the point knowing their background. But they're taking that chance, and they have them operating these buses. And we also heard, quite a number of those bus drivers are involved in criminal behavior, a criminal activity.
Is that right?
So it's a serious problem. And I personally, I took a bus ride because we're trying to feel get a feel of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally saw an anklet bracelet on a driver. And we were questioning, how is it happening? But like I say, the public bus service is not operated, say, under an umbrella.
Right.
Even though they have a bus drivers association, they do not control who operate the individual bus.
Right. So it's not regulated.
It's not regulated.
Right.
And this is something that the government has to look into, whether we like it or not, because, just the other day, the police had to pull the buses aside. The little boy used to stab the one on Foxhill Road. They're all using the bus system to do these criminal behavior activity. So this is something that the government is going to have to look. The Ministry of Transport is going to have to look at and say, look, we've had too many of these incidents happening with regards to the bus system.
Okay, now Facebook viewers, we have the image up of the man that is wanted by police for today's double homicide, who was out on bail for another murder at the time that the murders this morning occurred. So I'm going to leave his photo up while we talk for a while. We have two callers on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, we have to continue to pray for this country. We need a real cleansing in this country. But in reference to the public service license or whatever those drivers, every one of those drivers are supposed to have, and I think the driver, the deceased, had a public service, whatever certificate or whatever. And I think what they need, and like you said, you saw a driver with an ankle bracelet around his foot, right? The thing is, I think this causes this is what they need to stop to deal with right now. They have to pause and do a whole go over every one of those, all the bus owners, find out, do a check on the drivers, and the 16-year-old was shot in that incident as well, right? Check on who is manning those buses, because our children, we have mothers, we have persons, citizens are on those buses.
Mm-hmm.
And so something like that, could you imagine, you say you had a gun held on you before, could you imagine witnessing someone die in that manner while you're on that bus or in that area? Someone, they posted it, because they post everything now it goes up viral. And I couldn't even look at it, but to actually be there, physically be there when that happened for a student, and then we're wondering, why we have these blockages with our academics in our schools. These are things, and I think this is a crisis with the bus drivers, even with whoever issues those public service license. I wonder if they look at your police record, look at what type of because you only get those bracelets around your ankle if it's a very, very, very serious crime, right? And the second thing they need to do, because it's been happening for too many years, over 20, 30 years now, the courts, the AG, whoever deals with this, they must take a second look at the Bail Act. You have too many people out on bail who have committed not one murder, not two murders, up to 4 or 5 murders. These people are out on bail, and now we have it seems like a vigilante system going on right now, plus the added murders with passion and anger and all these different craziness with these demonic spirits all around the place. But you have to do is, you say you can't blame government or the police or whoever for these things, right? However, they have to do what they have the power, what it is in their power to do. And Governor second look at that Bail Act and dealing with as far as with the bus drivers or public drivers in general, taxi drivers, whatever drivers. They need to check and see who those drivers are and check those records. It's not onus on the owners of the buses to say, well, they hire and they bring, John or Brown or whoever to drive the bus. They have to ensure, the police or whoever, to check those persons to ensure, before they give those public license certificates out going forward, to save their lives and to save our lives. I guess you all have a safe weekend.
You too. Thank you so much for calling. The numbers to call 3260271, 3260271. We have another caller. Oh, caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
How are you?
I'm great. That's good. Well, I am a former law enforcement officer. I'm in piggybacking exactly what the previous caller said.
Mm-hmm.
I always said I wish we could do something with our judicial system. Of course, persons are innocent until they're deemed guilty by the court.
Right.
It's a backlog. So, of course, it's their right to get bail if the case doesn't come up in a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
We need more magistrates. If one member of parliament could clear up our judiciary, hire more magistrates, protect the witnesses, the jurors, so these cases can move along more swiftly. So many people wouldn't be on bail and they wouldn't be prolific criminals because they're in jail. So it's a system thing. The government needs to work on it. Then it's the judiciary thing. That's just a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 5 cents.
Maybe what is needed, and I don't know if this is even possible or feasible, but maybe in order to address some of the problem of the backlog of cases that we have, we need more courts that are specific to a certain type of offense. You understand what I'm saying? So if you have one court that is only focuses on, say, murder and armed robbery, you have another court that focuses only on sexual offenses. You have another court, and I don't even know if it's feasible.
But Michelle, back in the day, that used to be, because I remember Magistrate Carolina Bethel, she dealt with all the drug cases.
Right.
Then I think it was what's the other magistrate name? She dealt with guns, because I remember even when Clayton Fernandez, they used to call me and say, we go into the gun courts this morning.
Mhm.
And we went to a Pacific court.
Right.
And it was so back then. So I don't know what it's like now, because it seems as if all the cases going to whatever court.
Yeah.
But I know recently Commissioner Fernando had mentioned that they also trying to decentralize the police force in terms of how they deal with certain matters.
Okay.
The firearms is going to have its own special section,
Special unit.
and then the domestic violence, they're looking at having a separate building to protect the privacy of individuals,
Right.
and so forth. So they
Okay.
are doing it on the police force moving forward.
Right. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Madam Sister, how are you?
Good. How are you?
First, I must establish that I love you like a sister, and you're trying.
Thank you.
Pat is a beautiful. Pat always make beautiful contributions. Pat, I love you like a sister, a beautiful woman of David.
Who's Pat?
Who just called a moment ago?
Oh, okay.
She just called a moment ago. Her name is Pat. That's David's wife. Madam Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
would you agree that this is a crisis? And first, I should say, let me say this. I want to give my condolences to the family of the mother, to the family of the mother and son who just passed a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we must be respectful of any homicide. Is too much. And I am baffled and dumbfounded. I really believe this is conspiracy and this is economics. Why am I saying this? You alluded a moment ago. Why are these cases taking so long to come to trial? You think this is a conspiracy among the lawyers in terms of economics? Do you think that, Madam Michelle?
I hear your point. In other words, the longer it drag on, the more money they make.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Possibly.
This have to be spiritual. Let me use this example. I read in the paper, I think it was this week, where an injunction was passed about 3 years ago on the shantytown, on the stopping of the demolition of the shantytown.
Mm-hmm.
You're a journalist, and I'm not a lawyer, but that has been more than 3 years. Why is it that it takes more than 3 years for that injunction to be lifted? This is why I'm saying like it's a conspiracy. And this crisis we still have, as to crisis with homicide, etc., etc. And the police force, we have to give them some credit. God knows that I'm not, we have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I will continue to say the police force cannot babysit your child. The police force cannot be everywhere. But when anything happens in terms of crime, we have to call the police. We have to call the police. But I am of the belief that we don't have the resources. So I think, I don't know, from where I'm standing, it seems like this is a conspiracy just to hold up or clog up. And I'm trying to figure out the Bahamas that I once knew. And I'm still a fairly young man, although I have $5,000 now. It's not the same Bahamas I used to know many years ago. Would you agree with me?
Absolutely.
Anyway, I say no more. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thanks for calling. Telephone numbers to call 326. Do we have another caller? Okay, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 803-260-272. Those are the numbers to call. If you want to send us a WhatsApp message, 801-0271. 801-0271. Yeah, this is an open line show. But for the first part of the show, we're dealing with this whole crime situation, murder in particular. That seems to be, I don't know what to call it. And this I now we see the same problem happening in DCI. And I understand that a part of their problem is these gangs made up of foreigners, imported crime.
Yep.
Um,
and the same thing is happening here. We see we look at the names of the suspects, and the majority of them are foreigners. A lot of them are of Haitian descent, Haitian nationals. And you're wondering what is it that's in forcing them to do what they're doing. They're wreaking havoc. They're murderers. They're angry. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Because
well,
even
according to Bell, we don't have an immigration
crisis.
No, we say we ain't got no crisis. It's under control.
I'm going to put my reputation that we have a serious crisis in
Oh,
this
you know
country.
that, and I know that, and everybody else in the country know that.
We have a serious, and I came up with Bell, and when he was on the police force and thing, we had a crisis back then. I don't know why, because he's a politician now, and I will tell him that because we have a press conference with him next week, and I will tell him that there is a crisis. Acknowledge there is a crisis in this country.
You can't fix what
we
you
have
don't
a crisis in this country, and it's prevalent in the inner city communities. Too many of our young men are dying or killing each other.
I was thinking of doing a show called The Endangered Species, and it's not an environmental show, but it seems that young men in this country are becoming an endangered species.
They are endangered because when you look at the age group, this is a generation. This is a generation. And Michelle, what is also happening? Women are becoming involved in criminal activity as well. And I know that Minister Wayne Munro alluded to the fact that it has nothing to do with your economic status at the time, but but a lot of women, drug trafficking, firearm possession.
Because they figure the bad boys figure the police will check
the male before they check the female.
Right. That's it. I think that's the thought behind that.
Yeah, that was Fernandez did allude to that the females will get by because the police looking at the male. But they say they're on to the females, so, they're more on to them now. But the question is, we're back to this bail situation. I remember back in the day, I think it was 12 months that you would have been incarcerated before you were eligible for bail, because I think the Bail Act at that time applies that if your case had not come up within a certain period of time, you were eligible to apply for bail. I stand to be corrected. But nowadays, it seems as if you're charged in the magistrate court today, within very short period of time, you can go to the Supreme Court and apply for bail.
And get it.
As long as they feel as though you're not a flight risk or you put on an ankle bracelet. And the thing is, what bothers me, and I put it to Chief Superintendent Skipping, why is there a system that is relying on the criminals, a murderer, to ensure that his battery is charged?
Listen.
Why can't there be a computerized system that, how I'm here looking at my computer now, and my screen is telling me to check my microphone because the levels are not in sync with what the producer's levels are. So I know right now I have to check it. So if these companies are monitoring these batteries that these criminals are wearing, how is it that they can only say these guys are off the grid? Can't they see that the battery is running low?
Well, not only that, is there a system out there, and maybe there isn't, but maybe there is there a system out there that doesn't rely on the typical battery being charged? Maybe there's a system out there
like a digital system.
Well, not just digital, but there are all kinds of systems now that that get energy from other sources.
Mhm.
So in other words, and maybe it doesn't exist,
Maybe.
but is there a system out there that could, instead of be having to plug in something, could get energy elsewhere, so that it don't matter if I plug it in or not, but it's being energized. It's being energized either through
Well-
movement or exposure to the sun. I don't know. I'm just
There
throwing
should
things out
be a
there.
system, and this is something that the government has got to look into.
Because to me, that don't make no
It's
sense.
not
As a
making any
criminal, I
sense.
gonna wait till that's all I gotta do. Just wait till the battery run down, and then go do what I
have to
gotta do, and then plug it back in. Duh.
I mean, like, you don't need to be a rocket scientist
Exactly.
to know that this is a fault in the system. We've been to briefings over the past several weeks, and we've questioned. I personally have questioned the authority. Why are we relying on criminals to be responsible? The whole thing is to commit a crime.
So they're not the most reliable to keep themselves on the grid.
No.
It's against their interest to keep themselves on the grid.
Exactly.
Especially if I want to do something nefarious, I make sure that battery run low.
And then you're going to say, okay, the majority of the murders being committed as a result of retaliation, revenge killing. So we know this. So what do we do to correct the problem? Do we continue to count murders every day?
Yeah, if this don't stop, we're looking for a record breaking year. We're on
What about
pace to break records.
105?
106 now.
Six.
With
Yes,
the
right,
two
double.
today.
That's
Mhm.
that
And this
doesn't.
only October 7th.
I was on Facebook, and there was a person from Liberia
Mhm.
following the incident this morning.
Mhm.
You know, far-reaching it is. I
Oh,
know we
yeah.
have problems all around the world.
Of course.
But the Bahamas is so small, and we projected as a religious nation.
And not only that, we need, as much as we like to talk about diversification, we need that tourism
We
butter
need it.
to butter our bread.
Yes, we do.
And so if next thing you know, we can get hit with another advisory advising certain
Tourists.
citizens, be careful when you go to the Bahamas. That ain't helpful.
Yeah, they held a couple at gunpoint Wednesday night and robbed them. And every day it's happening. You see the crime report, and you see what's happening in the country. Yes, it's spiritual. And we've established this group. We're working on some community initiatives, and one is we're working in partnership with Urban Renewal and the churches, and we're trying to embrace the family. This is an initiative that Global is a part of, and it's coming. We're gonna launch it on the 28th of the month, and it's called Embracing the Family Through Thanksgiving, and we're bringing together the church and the community and the family, and seeing how best we can project the family in a different image, because we tend to highlight all of this negativity, these murders and these criminals, and they like that. This is their time on the stage. They're starring. They're terrorizing this country.
Which is a handful,
Yeah, it's only a handful. It's only a handful. And we have some young boys, some young men out there who are doing some awesome things right on the police force, mind you. And I must say kudos to those guys. They're doing, and you go on those crime scenes and you see them, and they're working endlessly, they're untiringly. They are our brothers and they are sisters. They're part of our community. So we have to project the positive things in this country, and downplay the negativity that's going on. We can't ignore it, but we have to,
It can't be all about them.
It
You
can't
have
be
to
all
see some
about them.
positive alternatives. Okay, for those of you tuning in late, if you look on your screen on Facebook, you will see an image of the accused person who police believe or is responsible for today's double homicide. His name is Kieron Brown. He was already known to police, was out on bail for murder. And according to police, he was known to the two victims today, mother and son. They had some kind of altercation, and he allegedly left the scene and came back and decided that it was upon him and his rights to take their lives. So his image is on the screen. If you see this young man, don't try to be a superhero, because obviously he is very dangerous. So just call the police or call Crime Stoppers or call whoever to try to get this young man off the streets. This is just crazy, y'all. This don't even make no sense. This is crazy.
Yeah, but we have to encourage our lawmakers. We have to encourage our representatives. You know, they represent us in Parliament. We need to make amendments to this bail act. We cannot have this continuing in this country. Every time you go to these crime scenes and the police briefing, you hear they're known to police. They're on bail. Do something, let's get our lawmakers, let's get our representatives to do something about it. I know attorney the attorney general Ryan Pinder just last month before the new session, he outlined a compendium of bills that nothing to do with crime, nothing to do with the bail. I don't recall anything being mentioned with concerning, and now you're saying Bell is saying there's not a crisis, which means that are they prepared to deal with, or do we sit back and allow them not to deal with it?
No, he's talking about when I say he said
Immigration.
Immigration.
But all of this is a spin-off. Crime is crime. Immigration, they are crime. Listen here, Michelle, and I'm on airwave, and I'm going to tell you, we are doing an investigative piece, and I was told by a Haitian national that they are paying $300 for labor reports.
Well, I will tell you this: after the show that in which Graham was on, when that clip went viral, a Haitian, I don't want to say Haitian Bahamian because he has a Bahamian passport, but he's from Haiti. And I don't know how he got my number, but he reached out to me directly and he said, Miss Malcolm, there's a huge aspect of this conversation that y'all are missing.
Yep.
And I said, what is it? And he said, hardly nobody come here by boat no more. That ain't the preferred means to get in the country.
No.
They come in by plane. He said, and there's a serious racket going on
in the Bahamas
where they paying for visas to get into the country. And he said, I have my passport. I was visiting Haiti. When it was time to come back, he said they bumped him for several days from flights. And the people who were being given preference on coming on those flights were people who had allegedly paid to get these visas, documents. Mind you, he got passport.
I know.
And it took him days to get back here. He said, y'all missing a big part of this conversation. He said it's a serious money-making thing.
It is a serious, and it's involving a lot, it's involving a lot of government workers in those government agencies
making
that are
money.
Responsible. Because I was telling my colleague, I said, something. Sometimes when you get deep into, and people say as journalists, we don't go up below the surface. And it's, nowadays, it's okay to go below the surface. And we must take that chance, that risk in going below the surface. But when you go below the surface, and nowadays,
be prepared for what you can find.
Be prepared for what you're going to find. Be prepared for what you're going to find.
And be brave enough to report it anyway.
And be prepared to some extent to come up against some forces.
Oh yeah.
In doing so.
Oh yeah. Because I always say follow the money. They don't like it when you share it. Like, you notice if you have a problem with roaches, you turn on the light, that roaches run because they don't like light.
Nope.
They love it. They love the darkness. We got a bunch of cockroaches around here. They don't like the light to shine on them and what they doing. And when you decide to turn on that light, they scatter, but they now will start plotting, okay, this person becoming a problem because they turn on the light too often. But Lord knows we gotta shine the light on this darkness because our nation is at stake.
It is, this immigration and it becomes a crime problem no matter how it's usually it's not a crime. One thing leads to another. It leads to another. When we bring these people into this country, who are they? Who are they? And the thing is, the ones who are here, oh man, Michelle, like you said, you missed a whole segment of that show because we went under, and we did some investigation, and the things that we discovered, it was, I mean, it was startling. It was like, are we selling our country
For a bowl of porridge.
for a bowl of porridge?
Despising our birthright.
Are we doing that, Michelle? We went and we did a walkabout in one of the inner city areas the other night, 2 nights ago, and we were talking with residents. And listen here, people were pulling out their Bahamian documents, and some of these people are not even speaking English.
My God.
They are not even they don't even know how to speak English, but they have Bahamian passport, national insurance card, and everything that represent Bahamian. This is what our country is coming to. And as a journalist, I it saddens me, the crime rate. The other day when we went to the Robinson Road murder, I think Michelle was affected by that because she kept asking me, "Is that real?" And I realized that I say, "Okay, we have to call it a day because you need to go home and take a break."
If you ain't been in the news industry for a little while, we've been around this thing a long time, so if you develop a tough skin against it. But for somebody who ain't used to that,
if you're not used to it, and I asked Skippings, Skippings, how do you all deal with it? It's not like how it was back in the day. We had the horrific murders, but it's horrible now.
But not the main difference now is it's constant.
It's constant.
It's not.
Yes, it's constant.
Not once a month or once every couple of weeks. It's every other day. That's the main difference between now and then.
And I also asked Superintendent Audley Peters, and we talk with officers. How do you all deal with it? We used to know back the officers used to start drinking and so forth. We had a lot of officers who turned to alcohol. They became alcoholics. Some of them actually lost their minds and so forth.
They try to block out all of the.
And she said, Shelley, I pray every time I come out in the morning and I go home. I pray because I don't want to take that spirit with me. I have to shed that. I can't take that to my family. But it's difficult, Your prayer changes things. But to get out there every day and have to deal with that demonic spirit, that force out there with that called murder, it's rough, and you got to be strong.
Let me just say this, and I'm glad you point that out, Shelley. We have a lot of people they'll bash the police every chance they get, and there's some bad police officers, just like how there's some bad nurses, bad teachers, bad pilots, bad lawyers. Every profession has some bad seeds, right? But we really need to pray over the law enforcement agencies in this country because they're putting their lives on the line every day. A police officer just got shot the other day.
Exactly.
And they are out there trying to protect us. We gotta cover them because as bad as it is now, imagine if they weren't there. That's a scary thought. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yeah, I'm good. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Michelle, you have a very excellent guest there. Excellent lady.
I'm trying to convince her to come on more often, but she ain't very right.
Yes, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
Because, I always believed that it would be a woman to start this thing, And, I see a lot of females like yourself and the lady next to you, and Shadow Green and Dax and all those people. But didn't it take a Haitian female, a Bahamian Haitian? She identifies as a Bahamian, so that's where that water gets muddy. Because I really believe she is a Bahamian who just happened to be because her heart is here speaking for us. But it took her to bring this and made this clear to Bahamians because I don't believe we Bahamian women I heard was saying this a long time ago, but no one was getting it. That the influx of the foreign cultures and all that will affect us, especially if the initiative was illegal. You guys are talking about because if the people came into the country illegally, how could they ever be made legal? And what I mean is that if I steal your car, Michelle, or one of your cars, and I sell it. And the guy give me $2,000 for it. When I take that $2,000, can I purchase something legally with that? You know what I'm trying to say? That $2,000, because if it's tracked back to me benefiting from that illegal gotten thing, I would have some kind of legal judgment on that, right?
Well, a better question to ask is if somebody steals a car and then they come and they sell you the car.
Wow.
As the person who buys the car,
Yes.
you know the value of that car should be $10,000. They come selling it to you for $500, and you decide to buy it for the $500 because that's a good deal, and you know it ain't supposed to cost no $500.
Yes.
Then you just as guilty as him.
Well, the person, both of them should be charged with knowledge of. You understand what I'm saying?
One for receivership, or I don't know if that's a.
Well, if the buyer knows that he's buying a stolen car, then he's just as guilty as the guy who's, they're both guilty. But if somebody sells you a car and you don't know the value, no information to it, and you think it's his, then he should get away with that, right? Because he didn't know.
No,
but I'm saying,
ignorance of the law does not excuse you. You go before the court and say, no, the court ain't trying to hear that.
Oh, watch that term. That don't work anymore. Ignorance of the law.
Ignorance is no excuse for the law.
Exactly. Even if you don't even speak the language of the country. Who's to deal with you then? You talk about ignorance. I don't even know your language. And these people are getting shoveling around us, and we can't even document them out now. They're coming by plane. You see the passion I feel for this, and that's why I don't want to ramble on too long. But I'm saying you should not be able to benefit from illegal gain means. An entry into the Bahamas illegally is illegal. You know what I'm trying to say? So you can't end up in the cabinet running the social service. How evil is that?
You can in the Bahamas, allegedly.
Yes, that's why I said ignorance is not an excuse anymore. We used to have that. Judges used to use that on us all the time. But I just sense evil, and I sense a lot of foreign influences straight to the top of our courts, from the constable on the street and all the lawyers in between. Straight to the people who run Parliament right now. They all are, basically. And it's like there's this evil in our. Oh my God! It's going too deep for myself. And I wouldn't say DNA, because there are good people, good behemoths out there like yourself, and I hope I am one. And we're trying to change the minds of these people. I don't know. I think it's by choice, too blind not to see the term. They don't want to see. And all of us are suffering for it now. Now it's going to be knocking on the. You got a mad dog killer on the street right now. Who's safe? I don't care where you on the island. He will affect all of us.
All of us.
You know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be living like this, man. This is not the Bahamian. This is not the Bahamian culture.
Yeah.
Even if he is one, God bless him, but we gotta watch what we're doing around here, because we're not. We just willy-nilly and disobeying every kind of law, God's law, the Constitution, and the payments, because that's my party. We're sitting back and allowing it to happen. This is time for the PLP to stand up.
It's time for us all to stand up.
All of us, especially the PLP, just like how I think it was FNM who quickness the minutes out. It was them who got angry at him. And the PLP should be doing the same thing right now, because, am I just looking at this some kind of weird thing that this isn't happening? The man that can be in 2 weeks ago, he had to show up on the Queen's memorial thing there just to stop a law that the Attorney General Brian Pender, half this and half that. Whether it's racial or national, half American, he was going to introduce the bill to introduce like one of the silliest bills in regards. But you know what? We're going to let the women. We can have the baby's name after the women. My God, what a trade-off, right? But I don't. I always say to you, man, women and men, we all should be equal, hands down, case closed. But the little snaky Billy is trying to bring in for this asylum law.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know that is being dictated by external forces, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for calling. Wow. Shelley, I know you say you only give me till 3 o'clock. It's 4 minutes to 3. So
I have to make my way out of here.
I know, but I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. We didn't even take our first break. It was supposed to be taken at 2:30, but I'd rather go straight through and then figure out how to put those breaks in.
Michelle, it has certainly been a pleasure sitting in with you, and unfortunately, I can't do it as often, but I look forward to joining you later in the month and next month, definitely, because we have a lot to talk about. There are lots happening in the news every day, and it's been very busy recently. We've been on so many scenes in the past several weeks, and we've been putting the questions to the relevant authorities, and we've been asking for change. And like the gentleman was saying, perhaps it's going to take us females to make that change, and we've got to advocate for our politicians to look at our bail act, to look at what's going on in the country and make some adjustments, some amendments, so we can, address these situations like having a murderer out on bail and committing a double murder. I mean, how and a murderer driving a public bus,
Exposing other people to possible
and you know what
danger.
I said to Clayton Fernando at one of our briefings recently, I said, innocent people are now going to become victims, targets. So it's happening. Their very own is gone down. Michelle, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to make an exit out of
I
there.
can let you go, okay? I can handle these next callers on my own because I know you got to go. But I appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you very much for having me.
All right, so let's take these calls, and then we're going to go to a break. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Ms. Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
I hope you're doing well.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was very interested in, I want to contact that same lady who was on the show.
Shelley? Shelley works here at the station.
Oh, she's right there. Okay. Well, I'll get a hold of her because she had some very interesting information.
Yeah.
And I'm very much interested in learning as much as I can in relation to the issue. But the thing that came to mind was Article 2 of our Constitution. Now, you have a commercial that has been running on the radio about this equality. And the commercial rejects and despises the will of the Bahamian people and asking the government of the Bahamas to pass a law to override the will of the Bahamian people. That in itself is a serious contradiction. Another point is remarks made by the current Minister of Immigration. He was saying one thing when he was in opposition, how illegal aliens were running through his own yard. Now he's singing a different tune and telling the Bahamian people that there is no crisis. I don't know where his head is at. But unfortunately, we have too many ministers in the current administration falling down over each other, contradicting one another. The Prime Minister made a remark about he was not going to deal with this marital thing that people were talking about. Now we see it on the forefront again by a particular minister. But let me just say this. We don't know who is in this country. The government was beaten ball naked right in the office of Prime Minister by a stranger, a foreigner, an alien, an outsider. The government is yet to this day, as I speak to you, Ms. Malcolm, to answer to the Bahamian people, what is this gentleman talking about? No answer has been forthcoming. We don't even know who's in the country. We got nameless, faceless people committing all kinds of criminal acts, and then they want to tell me, who is a genuine Bahamian, that they're Bahamians doing it. I said it's not in the psyche of the Bahamian people to do some things that you see happening in this country. That is not Bahamian. And I dig deep into my own family relations, 7 generations deep. And there are some specific things, Miss Malcolm, Bahamians do not do. That's lock, stock, and barrel. Now, I'm not saying that they're perfect. I'm not saying they don't do things that are wrong. But if you know the Bahamian people and you understand the Bahamian psyche, there are certain things we just don't do. And that's the way it is. Now, you have some people from a different nation, and the government has to answer this, How is it that we have a foreign nation with a very large population, never was a part of the United Kingdom and colonies, but all of a sudden you see this influx of people, and there is no basis for it in the Constitution. I challenge anybody.
I can't wait for you to come back in the studio because I got some. Listen, that show went viral, and I got some calls from some lawyers who said that is not true, and I got some call from some other people who said that Graham is right on point, that's exactly right what he's saying. So I don't know. We got to talk about this when you come back in the studio.
I agree with you, but I want those same attorneys who say it's not true, then challenge me on air. There was another attorney who challenged me on air, and I asked one question, one single question.
Mm-hmm.
Can the Constitution of the Bahamas, of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, support anything that's illegal? The person never called back, never said anything. Stay right in the corner in the darkness. When it comes to the Constitution, don't talk foolishness in my ears. If they think I'm wrong, tell them be man and woman enough to stand up, call the show when I'm back on, and prove from the Constitution that Mr. Thompson is wrong. Because you ain't get me off that. The Constitution is supreme, not the word of the Prime Minister, not the word of the Minister of Immigration, not the word of a court judge. That's his opinion. Just like the one in Dayton with 6 boys, she got an opinion too. Opinions do not make law. He's entitled to his opinion, but he is to make a ruling based on law. If it ain't based on law, it has no standing. That's why you see I stick rigidly with the Constitution. But if they believe that is not true, tell them, stand up and say it publicly. Don't talk behind in the darkness. Bring it to the light and identify who they are. Let's see what man and woman they are when I come back in. Well, not this Monday, the following Monday.
All right.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Malcolm, and all the best to you.
This coming Monday is a holiday, right?
Yeah, that's a holiday. Well, I'm kind of busy on those other days, but don't worry.
Everybody waiting to hear you
Oh,
come
yeah,
back.
we'll get back the following Monday.
Eric, you've been gone too long, man.
Too long, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. But
All
we'll
right.
get back online.
Professor, thank you so much for
Thank
calling.
you very much. All the
right.
best. Okay.
We have another caller? Okay, let's take this break because my God, it's 3:04. We ain't take the first break yet. I understand Shelley just advised me that there's an updated photo of the suspect that is believed to be responsible for today's double homicide. So during the break, I can try to pull that up and we'll share that with our viewing audience as soon as I can get it pulled up so we can see what he looks like now, because apparently the photo that they had distributed was not his most recent. It's not his most recent look. So let's take this break, and when we come back, we're going to switch gears. We got to talk about this BPL situation, y'all. What a conundrum. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fix and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. We see now where, for those of you watching on Facebook or YouTube, we have the updated photograph of the alleged suspect in today's double homicide. His name is Kevon Brown, and the police have issued a photo of what he looks like now. So it's a side-by-side photo, one of an older picture and one of what he looks like now. So this is the young man they believe is responsible for today's double homicide. And if you do see him, please do not approach him because he would be considered armed and dangerous. Please go ahead and call the relevant authorities if you see him anywhere so that they can apprehend him and get him off the streets. In case you're just joining us, didn't know what had happened, this morning we had a double homicide of mother and son shot and killed. And police say that this young man, who was known to the victims and was known to the police, is allegedly responsible for those latest murders. This young man was out on bail for murder. And according to the police at today's scene, was out on bail for murder and had cut off the ankle bracelet from his ankle prior to committing the crime allegedly today. So if you do see this individual again, we ask you to please do not approach him, but to reach out to the relevant authorities and let them know that you would have just spotted him in which particular area. The telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line 801-0271, 0271. So I have somebody says bail. He was out on bail for murder and gun possession. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave the photograph up so that you can take a good look for those of you watching on Facebook or YouTube as we continue on with the show. So this week, apart from the proliferation of murders that took place here in the Bahamas, the big story is the Prime Minister announcing that there will be a hike in BPL rates. This has a lot of people on edge. But the Prime Minister, who decided to make the announcement himself, has indicated that as hard as he tried, he couldn't put it off. They couldn't put it off any longer. That in essence, they waited until the summer months had passed. Now that we are in our version of autumn, where it's cooler, he thought that now was the time to grant permission to BPL to increase their rates. So here, I've got it, Jason. Here's what the Prime Minister had to say with regard to this rate increase.
Unfortunately, we can't postpone the increase any longer. Now that we have passed summer and moving into a period of lower electricity usage, the government has approved BPL's request for this phased-in increase. We have worked to minimize the impact in multiple ways. First, those who consume less, and a great many households fall in this category, will see a lower increase, 2 cents, instead of 4.3 cents per kilowatt hour. Second, the increases are phased in over time, allowing consumers to plan ahead. And third, the VAT ceiling for electricity will now be raised from $300 to $400, so no VAT will be due on bills up to $400. I know the short-term increases announced today are very unwelcome news. I wanted to be the one to tell you, and I ask you to hang in there just a little longer. Our country is finally on a path to a very different energy future. I thank you.
So included in that energy future that he talked about, he has said that they're going to move towards, and I'm paraphrasing here, solar to the degree where I think 25% of the energy needs will be supplied by solar energy within the next 12 months. I think it's 25%. And he expects that even though we're feeling the pain now of this increase, that once that system has been implemented, then that will cause prices to go back down again, and you will be happy in the long run, even though you're unhappy now. That this new system has been put in place within the next 12 months. So there's all kind of back and forth going on with regard to this hike increase. Some are saying that a part of the problem why the increase is so high is because the Davis administration didn't act quickly enough as it relates to, and I'm going to play several clips that are going to sort of break it down for us, but as it relates to hedging of the prices of purchasing fuel from abroad. And some are saying that had he followed the system that was left in place by the Free National Movement administration, then we would not have been put in this situation. The increase that we are now seeing would not have been as high had he just followed, had his administration or BPL under his administration just followed the system that was in place. So there's been this big row back and forth as to whether or not the hedging was discontinued. There was an article in the Guardian, I believe, by Candia Dames, alleging that it was discontinued, or a portion or a specific aspect of it was discontinued. And now BPL is coming out saying that is not quite true. The hedging was never discontinued. The minister is coming out swinging, saying what y'all are saying. We delayed. Nothing ever came across my desk asking for that to happen. Some are going so far as to say y'all lying. So we are going to play a couple of clips, and then we're going to talk about this, because no matter who is right, no matter who's wrong, bottom line is, boy, we already going through such a hard time as far as our economy is concerned, and this ain't gonna be comfortable. But let's play a couple of clips. So in this next clip, BPL executives have come forward and said, well, let me just let the clip play for itself. They are seeking to explain this whole question of whether or not the hedge was continued or discontinued, etc. So here is a report with regard to that.
Fuel at BPL has been hedged from 2020, and according to BPL CEO Siobhan Cambridge, it remains in place. However, officials refuted suggestions raised by the opposition that the government did not fully execute all agreements necessary to sustain the program. According to Cambridge, the program was designed to hedge 80% of the volume of fuel the company used in the first year and drop 20% year by year. However, he explains that back in 2020, there was an abundance of supply on the market, and the situation the company faces now is completely different.
As time went on, some conditions happened in the market. Things happened that even the futures experts at the time the hedge was placed did not imagine. So we had the reopening of the world's economies as people realized that COVID was sending us into a serious spiral. So demand went back up, supply came down a bit, and as well as that, we had the situation with the war that broke out in Ukraine. So once that happened, that started to disrupt supply chain around the world, and prices shot up by magnitudes of 100%, as I think the minister and the prime minister mentioned in the speech the other day. So what did that mean? That mean the 20% that expired, the conditions were not conducive to ramp back up, because the prices were high now. So you're at the other end of the spectrum. If the price is high, nobody's going to sell you fuel at $40 a barrel when the market price is $100.
When pressed by the media, Minister of Public Works Alfred Sears said a request related to the hedge never came before him.
The hedge is part of the management structure, and I've explained the assumptions of the hedge were several. And I've explained in my answer to the question raised by Dr. Minnis. There were several events which basically challenged the assumptions of the hedge, and events which were beyond, some of which were beyond the anticipation, the expectation, even of futures experts. And that is this extraordinary increase in the price of petroleum.
Now, as media continue to press the issue, Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, had this to say.
Then put it directly to those who are making the accusations. Let them come forward and say it. The minister said in September nothing was brought to him for any approval for anything as you suggested. We certainly as an administration have never said that. So I think it'll be, at this point, without justifiable facts, incorrect to suggest that there was even any request made, because that was never a part of any announcement we made.
Okay, so all this back and forth spilled into the House of Assembly. Big fight in the House of Assembly, not physical but verbal, between Alfred Sears and Hubert Minnis with regard to this whole question of hedging and BPL and who lie and and who ain't moved quick enough and all this kind of thing. And Alfred Sayers said some things as it relates to what would have happened under the Minnis administration, which obviously, in his view, contributed to where we are today. So let me go ahead and play that clip, and then we're going to get into some commentary and hopefully some of your calls.
Execution of the Wärtsilä engines purchased for Bahamas Power and Light by the former administration now causing challenges for the struggling power company, who recently announced a hike in consumer bills. Works Minister Alfred Sayers revealing this much in Parliament today. Now, the engines were bought to replace 4 old engines at the company and also prevent BPL from dishing out some $2 million monthly in generator rentals.
Thus, Mr. Deputy, these factors eroded the benefit of the hedge strategy and placed BPL in a spiraling cash crisis.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, however, argued for Sears to provide proof that the Wärtsilä engines were poorly designed.
I only want to clarify something. The engines that we purchased Wärtsilä, they're tri-fuel, meaning they can use bunker C, LNG, as well as diesel. Only the 30-megawatt engine at Blue Hill Road that we purchased from the U.S. uses diesel, and that was only to use as a backup. So ask BPL to check your record. Many of your information is incorrect, but I would get to that.
Well, in response, Sears says that while he isn't an engineer, he relies on the technical advice provided by BPL's management.
I am advised that the Wärtsilä engines were poorly executed. Yes, intended for 3 types of fuel, but Mr. Deputy, in operation, and the honorable member would know this, it has only been able to function primarily with diesel and not at full capacity. Now that's $100 million.
Sears also asked why didn't Dr. Minnis, when he was Prime Minister, disclose that the tri-fuel engines were just burning diesel?
I mean, the rationale that was used, tri-fuel. I mean, that sounds good. But we have to look at the practice. What was the practice? What was the practice?
He says ultimately he's more interested in finding a solution rather than casting blame.
All right. Let me read this comment, and then I can have a little comment on my own. And of course, I want to hear from you guys. Philip says, remove the common denominator, Philip Brave Davis and the PLP government, to all our hardships and oppression, and such problems will go away. Bahamians just need to stand up. Why do we have to pay for brave mistakes or lack of vision, or to further enrich Frankie, the Wilson, aka Sun Oil, PLP, and FNM? All right, let me say this. And for the record, I am not here to hold a candle for the PLP, for Brave Davis, for the FNM, for Minnis, for anybody. I just calling it as I see it. Spade a spade. Back in the day when I was working at another place, Eyewitness News, as a general manager at ILTV, it was Eyewitness News that broke the story at that time about this internal struggle that was going on in BPL that ultimately led to the dismissal of members of the board. I can tell you that at the center of the problem which led to those board members being dismissed was this whole Wärtsilä deal. That was at the center of the problem. And there were those within the government at that time who tried to vilify Darnell Orsbon, who was the chairman of the board at the time, tried to make it seem like they fired her because she was doing things like spending exorbitant amounts of money on makeup, which, again, the news team at that time uncovered to be a lie. Because what we discovered was that the $700 and something what she claims that she charged for makeup was actually for a photo shoot involving several BPL employees. And we learned that by reaching out to the makeup artist. We found out who the makeup artist was. We contacted the makeup artist. The makeup artist said, I don't know why they're trying to lie on this woman, but they know that that was for 30-something employees. Right? At the time, the minister, Desmond Bannister, tried to make it seem like Darnell Osborne had spent $700 and something on makeup for herself. They did everything they could to try to discredit that woman and other members of the board. There were some things that we discovered as it related to that Watsilla sale in particular that were very concerning. Okay? You will recall, in addition to Ms. Osborne and others being fired, there was later on a member of the board who abruptly resigned. Let's not forget now, the woman write a 10-page letter. You ain't get him no notice. She just pack up and gone. There was some serious irregularities happening in BPL as it relates to that Watsilla deal. Allegedly. I got to cover myself. But we uncovered some very serious things. Now, you may recall that Minnis got up when he was still prime minister and said, we are going to run a full investigation into what happened at BPL with the board. I ain't seen that report yet. Investigation, if it happened, they ain't bothered to tell us what they find. If it happened. I don't know that it did. Bottom line is we still waiting for the results of that investigation. And maybe it did happen, and he just chose not to reveal what really went down in BPL. We had another situation where one of the main engines was burnt up because a manager in BPL decided to go against the advice of the engineers and ramp up a machine quicker than it should have been, and the machine burned down. All that happened under the Minnis administration. So we have to look at all of what is happening in context of all of what has happened at BPL. And again, I'm not here carrying the torch for nobody. I just calling a spade a spade, based on information we uncovered. Some of the stuff we uncovered, we never even took to air because it would have compromised the source from which we were receiving information. So I find it incredulous when these politicians get up who sat in the seat when they could have made decisions that could have benefited the people of the Bahamas as opposed to, allegedly, whoever those decisions benefited. And to sit up now and make it seem like they so holier than thou and they didn't have a hand in us being where we are at BPL today. We got to stop the hypocrisy. And, you know, Philip is on to something. I don't know if I would call people's name, but Cassius Stewart was on Shanique Miller's show the other night, and I thought he was very powerful in terms of what he said about this whole BPL situation and how successive administrations have allowed a handful of people who are benefiting from this chaos financially to continue to allow this chaos to go on at the expense of the Bahamian people while they enrich themselves and their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren yet unborn. Some of these deals that they are allowing to continue in this country are benefiting certain families for generations. And we allow it to continue because those same families are allegedly bankrolling these political parties with an S when it comes election time. So I gotta allow them to continue to ride this horse into the ground because I rely on that money, what they can give me, allegedly, come election time. So as opposed to making some tough decisions that are going to benefit the collective as a whole, we allow these people to continue to run this racket, I say, allegedly, that allows them to continue to enrich themselves while the rest are suffer. And this ain't just no PLP situation. So let's not make this all about Brave Davis and the Davis administration, because this has been going on for successive administrations. Let us call a spade a spade. My question is this, and I want to hear from you all now. I just me talking. My question is this. When is enough going to be enough? Because you can't carry it with you. Naked into this world, you come, and naked you can go. Your children can't carry it with them. Their children can't carry it with them. Your great-grand can't carry it with them. When is enough going to be enough? At what point do you not say, okay, we done make enough money for all the generations to come. Now let's see if we could do the right thing by the nation called the Bahamas. When is enough going to be enough for these people? Caller, welcome to GPS.
Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Like you say, this is not a PLP situation, nor an F&M. We have to deal with this because I cannot understand how, but BEC saying they ain't got no money. And if you look on it, I find out Atlantis alone paid $30 million a year. That just Atlanta, that didn't get nothing to do with the houses and all the rest of the hotel there.
Yeah, but when you look at how much money they spending on fuel trying to keep those generators up, it's easy to see how come they don't have sufficient money to keep going.
But I understand that also. But what I'm saying, I believe the PLP, it had to come and say, well, we can we need increase. But why they should have done this when they came in about 4 to 5 months. Look all those books, bring those details to the nation, and let the people them know this what we find and this is this, and we will have to go up in the future. But they just drag the feet, leave it alone. I don't know for what reason why, and they get other matters to deal with also. They get NIB to deal with, and trust me, they gonna have to go up because they get the books now. They didn't have the books to look and see. Now they get the books. They get some hard pills to swallow, and next year coming up to deal with these matters: citizenship, marginal rape, and the increase of wages. They get some, and if I was the prime minister, they have to do what they have to do. And that's it. Because they have to deal with it. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for calling. You know, the prime minister says he didn't want to do it then because obviously that was the summer months. People can be using more electricity during the summer. And you really was going to feel it if he had done it then. So he figured it's a bit cooler now. People using less, burning less AC, for instance. So now would have been a better time. now that the temperatures have been dropping. So, some saying that was a mistake. Others are saying they get it. No matter. Anyway, I just think we need to stop playing politics with everything in this country and call a spade a spade. There were some decisions made in BPL, and I pray that the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth come out as it relates to that. And this is one of the reasons why they, I believe, made the decision to try to pay out those members of the board for alleged wrongful dismissal. But at the center of that controversy was them same Wärtsilä engines, what, according to the minister, right now running on diesel only. Them same ones. And I don't want Hubert Minnis or Desmond Bannister or anybody else who was involved back then in any which way to all of a sudden get convenient amnesia like y'all ain't know what happened. Because I ain't forget, and plenty of people ain't forget. And I still waiting for that report, Mr. Minnis. What you promised was going to come. That investigation. I still waiting for that. Y'all jokey bad. Let's take this break here before I get myself into some more trouble. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about this BPL situation or anything else y'all want to talk about, because after all, it is a TGIF open line show today. We'll be back after these with some more sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical, Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
We are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this TGIF Open Line Show. If you're joining us late, the image on your screen on Facebook is that of the suspect in today's double homicide. Police believe that he is the individual responsible for killing a mother and her son this morning. And you're asked to be on the lookout for one, Kevin Brown. And if you see him, do not approach him, but call the authorities to let them know that you would have spotted him in your area. Okay, let's see if we can get this man off the streets. All right, let's look at a couple of your comments. Rose says, good afternoon, Michelle, and to all listeners. Listen, people, they need to hold a press conference. Only 3 journalists, they need to be there. That's Michelle Malcolm, Juan McCartney, and Jerome Sawyer. Boy, when these 3 journalists finish with them, we will all know just where BPL is at right now. They are the best journalists we have right now. Thank you very much, Rose. I appreciate that. Thank you. Rose also says, every government come into being, they're going to fix BPL is still the same. Nothing is changing. Listen, we need to stop playing anyway. So getting back to this BPL story. Obviously, we are all going to feel it. All of us. This is going to impact all of us. The hotels are now up in arms saying they just catching themselves, and they now concerned that what this is going to do to their business. And other business persons, big and small, are saying that this is going to definitely impact their ability to continue to operate. So I'm going to play a clip. This is with some business owners and their reaction to the news that the BPL rates are going to go up. This is what many in the business community have had to say.
That made me feel not nervous or anything, but it does add a little burden on my shoulders, because now I'm having to probably cut back on, the AC being on all day, or my customers being uncomfortable, just so I can manage the surcharges or the electricity, bill.
It make me feel not too good, because at this time business very slow. Like if you make it good, you will not feel the bill. But like we sit down, we ain't do too much now that will affect us if the bill gone up.
Well, right now we just out of pandemic, and right now I owe a lot of bills for things right now. Rent, I behind on my rent and whatever. And right now with BPL going up right now, it seems like you can't see the city for the smoke, because bills just keep going up. But sometimes it's slow, sometimes you make a couple dollars, sometimes it's slow. And this deep freeze here, this off. If I turn this on now with the BPL bill already high, this is an extra $500 a month if I turn that on. So I have to keep it off.
We try to do the best we can. So we just go and pay or something. And sometimes they'll come just $1,000 and they try to come and turn us off. I mean, like they don't have no kind of passion for the elderly people at times, because I had to tell the lady we just had a debt that day when she came with a book in her hand and like say she have to turn us off. I say, miss, can you give me some time that I can just try get some money to pay on that where it won't turn off. It ain't like I don't pay on my bill, but I only could do the best I can.
Miss, that's all us. All us only could do the best we could. I want to highly recommend that you, as a consumer, and we talked about it on one of the shows earlier this week, I think it was, about how to cut back on your electricity bill. Cut back, child. Do what y'all got to do. Because, boy, pray for cool autumn. Pray that it remains cool, because it's been pleasant the past couple of days, where you ain't got to turn on no AC and you ain't got to turn on this and turn on the next, because all of us can feel this pinch. All of us are going to feel this pinch. So do what you can to try cut back as best you can while we try to get through this. Because, otherwise it's going to be rough. We have a caller. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm.
Hi.
I have a question with this BEC thing. I heard them mention like a 30-day or 60-day. I trying to figure that mean if you don't pay so much on a particular bill by that day, or you have any idea how that does work?
Can you give me more information about what you're talking about?
I mean, like, I guess I think I heard the chairman mention. Let's say you have a bill this month for $300.
Mm-hmm.
Next month would be 30 days. I'm trying to figure out like if you have like you have to pay a certain amount or the whole bill in 30 days or in 60 days, and then they start the cut off, or just like
No,
probably how high the bill is.
It depends on how high the bill is, because if you're constantly paying on it, if it doesn't go beyond a certain threshold, they work with you. So I think it depends more so on how high that bill is, more so than just the days.
Okay.
Yeah. So you gotta
now,
just
one more question.
Uh-huh.
Do you know if the member of parliament for Long Island was invited to that big press conference about the resort going in Long Island?
Go to the back of the class for being naughty. You a naughty boy. Go in the corner.
Okay, thank you. Have a good weekend.
Maybe people Tropsy, Jason. Tropsy. Boy, you all make it. I have no comment on that. Yeah, behave yourself. Go behave yourself. Yeah. So Clint Watson, in his effort to defend this whole price hike situation, said in essence, it's a bitter pill, but we gotta swallow it. But like when you're taking medicine, right? Let's use Buckley's. Buckley's used to have a commercial that tastes bad, but it works. So he, in essence, is saying, boy, this is going to be a bitter pill, but you can feel better at the end of the day. Just take this bad medicine now, and even though it tastes bad, it can work. This is what Clint Watson had to say.
Not settle well because there are tough decisions that have to be made that impact people. But I always want people to put in perspective that a tough decision now is being done now so that you enjoy benefits of it a little later. So not everything that happens now will benefit you now. It sometimes has a long-term effect, an impact. And while BPL is planning to increase electricity, the Davis administration is busy while BPL is restructuring and getting things in place to modernize what it does. The Davis administration is busy ensuring that energy costs will go down under this administration at the end of the day, ensuring that we have alternative sources of energy in this country. That's the bigger conversation. Yes, it's hard to swallow the pill now that electricity is going up, but the long-term plan, and what you will see and realize within this administration, this term in office, is you will see a better run utility company. You will see a more efficient utility company, and you will hopefully realize better rates at the end of the day. That's the side that this government is working on. That's the plans that this government is working on. You've seen it in the blueprint of change, for change, to ensure that we incorporate other forms of renewable energies, to ensure that we're able to incorporate solar. All of that is a part of the plan to ensure that the costs are passed on to you and that you can afford electricity in this country.
Y'all know the saying, the proof is in the pudding? The proof is in the pudding. We're going to wait to see. We ain't happy about it. Nobody happy about it. But we can see y'all got 12 months. 12 months. Prime Minister say within 12 months, this solar situation could be a reality. Y'all got 12 months. I hope for y'all's sake, y'all deliver on that promise. Because many people are not, the honeymoon period is over now. And Bahamian people, they aren't, they starting to feel it a little bit. And this, y'all going through with the economy being what it was, being what it is, inflation being what it is, and Everybody's saying, buckle up because it's going to get worse. And now we got this more bills to pay and higher BPL. So, Prime Minister, I hope for your sake, you could deliver on that promise, whatever it is in 12 months. I hope for your sake. That's all I can say on that. Now, speaking of BPL, BPL was in the news this past week, but for another reason. So, one of the BPL workers goes to do his job to turn off some lights. Golden, I talking about it right now. Say people applauded the BPL worker and the judge that prosecuted the white man that freaked out. Well, plenty of people can be getting cut off and cut. You know what? Okay. So this young man goes to go turn off these people light, and he is apparently accosted by, according to him, a man and his wife, and he tried to explain to them whatever he tried to explain to them, and somebody got offended in some kind of how. And according to him, the husband come out and decide to spar. he thought he was in the ring. The only problem was he messed with the wrong one. So the young man had some training, some self-defense, martial art type of training. And according to reports, the man swing at and I believe hit the BPL worker, punch him. And the BPL worker puts up on him and put him in one lock and hold him in that lock for 7 minutes, they say, until the police arrived. Subsequently, the gentleman, who was a foreign national from Great Britain, I believe, was fined $1,200. In addition to that, had to pay the young man who he allegedly punched $500. And then the judge say, pack up your bundle, your Georgie bundle, and get the hell out of this country. The nerve of these people. Let me go ahead and play this final clip from the BBL worker about his unusual encounter with this gentleman.
To the account and the enclosure is on the outside, so I simply went to the enclosure, realized it was locked, and at the same time the acres, they were coming out. I didn't know who they were presently. After a discussion with them, they said that they lived at one of the condos that were there, and Miss Acres, I presume that's her name, we had a lengthy discussion, and she was basically just going on the same thing that they spoke about inside the papers, telling me how to do my job, X, Y, Z. And it was a long discussion. At the end of that discussion, she seemed to be a bit upset, and so she left, and I went to continue to do my job, and her husband just attacked me afterward, and I avoided his attack for about 50 feet, but at some point he got too close, and I just had to put him down and hold him down until the police came. And after the police came, they were able to deal with the whole situation, and that was the end of it.
Moral to the story is, you better know you're fooling with when you go attacking people. You shouldn't be attacking people at point blank, especially those who are trying to do their job. The young man said he didn't even come there to turn off their light. But yet, Mr. Wannabe boxer or whatever he thought he was decided to punch this young man who was only trying to do his job. And he ran up on the wrong one. Kudos to the judge who not only fined him and made him pay the young man, but tell him to get the hell out of this country. Because that kind of attitude, no, he don't need to be here. Time for you to go home, pack up your Georgie bundle and go. That being said, there will likely be many others who can have their light turned off. Now that these prices gone up, for God's sake, don't be attacking the people if they come to do their job. Don't attack them, all right? Because you might run up on the wrong one yourself. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi.
Let me tell you, you realize in the past, if you think it's about a month, right? We had two basic persona non gratas given to Europeans. realize that?
I hear you.
I mean, it's all of a sudden. But I mean, I guess it's a good thing. It's a bad thing, but it shows some, I guess, the anti-European reprobation because there a whole multitude of persons who come from that bay who already known, who have done murder, who have done all kind of crime, and but they're still in the country. You know, why they don't have the same approach to persons who come here illegally or who from any other country? If Britain is the one who gave us our independence,
why they
we could do it to them.
Why they getting a pass?
You understand what I'm saying? And it's so obvious.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's all it causes me.
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
Because you ain't got a lineup. That was one fella from, over the hill. He was going to spend some time at Her Majesty's pleasure and the Department of Corrections. So you got a very valid point. Why they getting special treatment? But like I said, at least the judge told him to get out of the country. Carry your hip home. Get out of this country. And yeah, talking our workers for doing their job. The nerve of these people. The nerve. Boy, I tell you. There's a strange place we living in, y'all. Very strange. I think it's something in the air or something in the water. I ain't sure which one. How the song go? There must be something in the water. I don't think that's what she was talking about, Jason. She was talking about something else when she sang that song. But something must be in the water. Or they spray something in the air or something going on in this country with causing people to lose their natural mind. There's no word you could be attacking the man for doing this job. What can I say? So people, if your light get cut off, don't be attacking the workers when they come to do their job, please. That's not wise. It will not end well for you. And most likely that last call has a good point. It probably won't end as well for you as it did for that expert. So don't go looking at that as precedence and think you can get the same treatment. Because you could end up behind bars. Don't be attacking the BPL workers when they come to turn off the light. Do what you could to keep, you keep up on top of your bills. And I know it's hard, boy. It ain't easy. But try put a little something on your bill and, try keep it as low as possible. Cut back so you don't have to be attacking BPL workers when they come to do their job. All right? All right. That's my time, y'all. I see some people putting some messages up on Facebook. But I'm just going to put them up. I don't have time to read through them because my time is gone. Monday's a holiday. Yay. So looking forward to this long weekend. Get some rest, y'all. Please be safe. Y'all boys out there who doing foolishness, put them guns down, man. Stop being stupid. Let's live to see tomorrow again. All right? To see, not again, but to see tomorrow. To fight another day. Until next week, Tuesday, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Be safe out there. Let's love one another, all right? Have a good weekend. Take care.
Global 99.5